Hello and welcome back to Panther Geeks. You join us for another painting video. It's another Massive Darkness one in the Massive Darkness series, and today we're going to be doing Siegfried. So there he is, as usual, undercoated in Mechanically Standard Grey. And like I said previously, I'm just going to show you the different colours. You don't need to see me putting a brush onto the model. It doesn't really teach you anything. There we go. That is the model ready to go. Sorry for all the paint on my hand. But the first colour we're going to start with is the skin. Again, like I think I explained in the previous video, I start with whatever's the majority colour or whatever's the inside colour and paint my way out. That's how I decide where I'm going to start on the model. So we're starting with Rubens Glow, a good dwarf colour there. And I'm going to cover all of his skin parts in that, and then I shall be back once I've done that. Okay, so the flesh is now complete. So there we go. See around those sides and sort of the belly bit and the feet and everything. They all need doing, and the hand, holding the shield. So that's all done. So the next stage is to use Reichland Flash Shade. There it is. So I'm going to be shading this with that. Just make sure that your first coat is completely dry before you even put any shade onto it. You can use a hairdryer to dry them. I've tried that in the past, it does work. Or just sitting it in front of like a hot lamp or something for a little while will help it to dry. But don't always remember to, when you thin your paints, don't put a hairdryer straight up to it. Keep it a distance away, because it can also warp the plastic as well. And this is quite a thin plastic, so if you do want to hairdry it, keep your hairdryer quite a ways, or put it on cool as opposed to warm air. There we go. So there we go. So I'm going to go away and shade this. So the Reichland Flash shade has dried on there. So the next step is to use Cadian Flash Tone. There it is. Said it right this time, unlike in the previous video. Anyway, so we're just going to paint the raised areas like in the Bjorn video, leaving all the recessed areas with the shade in, and then I'll be back to show you what I've done. Okay, so the Cadian Flash Tone is dry now. Hope you can see we've left some recesses in there and painted the top parts of the muscle. Next thing is to do the next layer of flash, which is Kislev flash we'll be using. We're just going to be highlighting the top of the muscle. Again, this is much like Bjorn in the previous video, so I don't want to just do exactly the same thing again, just cover that. But yeah, so that's the next thing we're going to be using. So I'll do that and then I'll be back. Okay, so that's the Cadian Flash Tone on. Lastly, we're going to do a little bit of a Flayed One Flesh highlight, just on the face, top of the hands, top of the shoulders, knees maybe, toes, anywhere where the light's going to really be picked up. So I'll get on with that and I'll show you what the flash will like when it's done. Okay, so there is the skin done. So the next stage, much like Bjorn again, Siegfried has some tattoos on his face. So I want to try and do something a bit similar to that. And again, I'm going to use the same colour, Caldor Sky, that I used for Bjorn. And we're going to have a look at that once I've done the first stage. Okay, so those are the tattoos on the face. Hopefully you can see them. Use the Insane Detail brush for that. So I'll be using either the Psycho or the Insane to the next one. And just like with Bjorn, I'm going to go straight onto the Lothern Blue to make those tattoos pop out a little bit. So I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so hopefully you can see the tattoos on his face. They turned out pretty well. Quite happy with that. Cool. Right, so next thing I'm going to do the metal components. So the shield. I think the main bit that's mace type thing he's got, this hammer. It's actually made of stone, so I'm going to do it as stone. But there's the dagger handles and everything like that. That all needs done in metal. So I'm going to do that in a lead belcher and get that done. And then I'll be back for the next bit. Okay, so Siegfried, here he is again. As I was going over it, I noticed all of his armour is actually edged in silver. So I've painted the lead belcher actually over the shield, and then I realised all these bits are in silver as well, these edges. So I've gone over the edges in lead belcher. And what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to go over the middle inserts in the middle part of the shield. So I'm actually going to paint over this bit, the part of the shield again, before I ink it, because it's quite intricate. So for that I'm going to be using Doomball Brown. It's about as close as brown as it looks on the image, to me anyway. If you have a look at that on his top knot and then on his belt. The shield looks slightly different colour, but I'm going to do it all the same just for the unity. So I'm going to cover that in Doomball and then I'll be back and we can move on to the next stage. Okay, we've added on the Doom Bull. It's gone over some of the metal parts, I'm not too bothered about it. I'm going to go over that again and highlight it in something probably like Rune Fang afterwards. But what I want to get done now is get some depth done into that Doom Bull armour. So I'm going to go over the metal and the Doom Bull in Null Oil. Try and bring those details back out before I do any highlighting on it. So I'll be back once that's on. Okay, as you can see we've got some highlights, some shades on the shields and armour and all that stuff. That's looking pretty good. So I'm going to do the metal highlights on that next. So I'm going to be using Rune Fang silver, although it's disappeared, Claire's stolen it. There we go. So that's not the one I had.
Is it not?
Another one. Oh. There it is. There we go. Rune Fang steel there. Yeah, that's going to be next on there. Around the rims, back around the edges of that armour and stuff, just to bring that back out. And then I shall be back once I've done that. Okay, so we've done the silver highlights around there. Next job is to do a little bit of a Tusco fur highlight, just along that Doom Bull that we put on. Just want to, just a little bit, just to highlight those glyphs and stuff that are in the armour. So I'm going to do that bit next and then we'll be back. Okay, so we've given that a bit of a Tusco highlight. I'm quite happy with that colour actually, it's pretty similar to the artwork. I think I'm going to leave that there. So in that case, we've got the other packs and stuff on his back there, these little things here. We need to put them in a colour. I think I'll do it the same as Bjorn's. I'll use Dryad Bark again over those, and then after that they'll need to be inked as well. If I was thinking ahead I could have inked them at the same time, but I didn't. So I'm going to ink, after I've done them in Dryad Bark, I'm going to ink them in Null Oil. So I'll be back once that's dried. Oh yeah, that's a good point. While I'm inking that, I might actually ink the hammer as well, because the hammer's going to stay in stone colours. So I'm going to ink the hammer at the same time. Okay, so just before I add the Null Oil onto Siegfried, I just want to point out that I've done the straps in Dryad Bark as well, and I've also painted the handle bindings in Dryad Bark too. Just before I ink all that in, well, the hammer, the bindings, straps, packs, all in Null Oil, and then I'll be back. Okay, so now that the Null Oil's dried on that, what I want to do is go over the pouches and the bindings on the hammer, and I'll go over them in Gothor Brown just to highlight them up, and then I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so we've got the pouches done. I'm going to do one final highlight to the pouches of Bane Blade Brown, just go around the edges and the closing bits there, and around the banding as well on that, the binding even as well on that. Just to finish that off, and then I'll be back. Okay, so that's where we're up to. The next thing I want to do with this is do this stonework on the hammer. So the next colour up, now that we've dry brushed, not dry brushed it, we want to dry brush it, that's the next thing I want to do. And I want to use Dawnstone, wherever it's gone, it's disappeared again. There we go, Dawnstone. I'm going to use Dawnstone, and we're just going to dry brush over the hammer, maybe highlight the edges, just to give it that stone appearance. And then I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so the hammer's been highlighted. We're going to give that one final highlight of Administratum Grey before we move on, and then I'll be back once I've done that. Okay, so next on Siegfried, just on the bottom of his beard there's like a little horn. I'll show you, right, I'm not being rude, but there we go. At the bottom of his beard there's like this little horn type thing that he's got his beard wrapped around. I'm just going to paint that a bit before we do the next part, and that's just going to be a simple case of using, it's already got grey on it, yeah, I'm going to use Andrew Dust, and I'm going to follow that up with some Screaming Skull. It's that small, I'm not going to shade it at this stage. I'll see what it looks like just by putting that followed by that on. So starting with Andrew Dust, following up with Screaming Skull. It's only a tiny little bit, I just want to get it out of the way before I forget about it. In addition, I've also painted the top knot, and I forgot that bit, exactly the same as I've done the bindings on the hammer. So I shall do that and I'll be back. Okay, so next up on Siegfried, we've got his hair, beard, and the cloth there. All these parts are going to be done in a Baden Black. There they are. and I want to just do like a very thin coat, maybe a couple of thin coats to leave some of that grey showing through. It'll give me a natural shade then into the black. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so you can see those black areas now. So what we're going to do, we're going to use some Esham Grey. There we go, some Esham Grey, and we're going to do the strands of hair. We're also going to do the folds in the cloth as well. Okay, and I'm just going to give them that little bit of a highlight, and then we'll be back when I've done that. Okay, so there's Siegfried. So the last thing I want to do is highlight a Dawnstone over those cloth areas, just to bring up the edges, etc. And then we can move on to finishing off the base. Okay, so back with Siegfried, here we are. So the grey's been done on the cloak, and I forgot to do the bands on the arms. So what I did with that, I put some Retributor armour over those, some gold bangs on these arms, and then we've got to highlight that with Runefang steel. So I'm going to do that next. But what I want to do is come back to the face and do the detailing on the face. So much like with Bjorn, I want to try and put some white into the eyes and a storyboard into the mouth to get the teeth. So I'm going to do those two bits next. So I'll be back once that's done. So next up we've got to paint the pupils. We're going to be using a Baden Black for the pupils, and in the mouth, once that's dried, we're going to be using Agax Earthshade. And then once that's dried, I'll be back. Okay, so there is Siegfried, done. Last thing to do is the base, just like Bjorn. I'm going to be using Astral Granite and Nuln Oil, followed by a highlight of Poly Witch Flesh, and then I'm going to do a rim around the base like I did before using Dryad Bark, and then we should be finished. I'll come back with a finished model. So that's Siegfried finished. There he is. Hopefully the camera's picking all that up. And again, like Bjorn, I've tried to keep him as close as I can to the source picture. Hopefully you can see that on there. He looks very similar. He's turned out well. A few things have changed, only like the handles on the daggers, just keep them grey, just to make them stand out against the rest of the Doom Bow on there and Tusco. That's about it. So, there we go. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, I hope it's been useful. Please like and subscribe because it helps out loads. And in the next video I'll be doing Elias, which will be the third and last of my characters for the main Massive Darkness set. So take care, see you later guys.